This is Audible.
This is Haunting Adeline, written by H.D. Carlton, narrated by Teddy Hamilton and Michelle Sparks. Prologue. The windows of my house tremble from the power of thunder rolling across the skies. Lightning strikes in the distance, illuminating the night. In that small moment, the few seconds of blinding light showcases the man standing outside my window, watching me, always watching me. I go through the motions just like I always do. My heart skips a beat and then palpitates, my breathing turns shallow, and my hands grow clammy. It doesn't matter how many times I see him, he always pulls the same reaction out of me. Fear and excitement. I don't know why it excites me. Something must be wrong with me. It's not normal for liquid heat to course through my veins, leaving tingles burning in its wake. It's not common for my mind to start wondering about things I shouldn't. Can he see me now? Wearing nothing but a thin tank top, my nipples poking through the material. Or the shorts I'm wearing that barely cover my ass. Does he like the view? Of course he does. That's why he watches me, isn't it? That's why he comes back every night, growing bolder with his leering while I silently challenge him, hoping he'll come closer so I have a reason to put a knife to his throat. The truth is, I'm scared of him. Terrified, actually. But the man standing outside my window makes me feel like I'm sitting in a dark room, a single light shining from the television where a horror flick plays on the screen. It's petrifying, and all I want to do is hide. But there's a distinct part of me that keeps me still, bearing myself to the horror, that finds a small thrill out of it. It's dark again, and the lightning strikes in areas further away. My breathing continues to escalate. I can't see him, but he can see me. Ripping my eyes away from the window, I turn to look behind me in the darkened house, paranoid that he's somehow found a way inside. No matter how deep the shadows go in Parsons Manor, the black and white checkered floor always seems visible. I inherited this house from my grandparents. My great-grandparents had built the 3-story Victorian home back in the early 1940s through blood, sweat, tears, and the lives of 5 construction workers. Legend says, or rather Nana says, that the house caught fire and killed the construction workers during the building structure phase. I haven't been able to find any news articles on the unfortunate event, but the souls that haunt the manor reek of despair. Nana always told grandiose stories that wrung eye rolls from my parents. Mom never believed anything Nana said, but I think she just didn't want to. Sometimes I hear footsteps at night. They could be from the ghosts of the workers who died in the tragic fire 80 years ago, or they could be from the shadow that stands outside my house, watching me. Always watching me. Chapter 1. The Manipulator. Sometimes I have very dark thoughts about my mother. Thoughts no sane daughter should ever have. Sometimes I'm not always sane. "Addie, you're being ridiculous," Mom says through the speaker on my phone. I glare at it in response, refusing to argue with her. When I have nothing to say, she sighs loudly. I wrinkle my nose. It blows my mind that this woman always called Nana dramatic, yet can't see her own flair for the dramatics. Just because your grandparents gave you the house doesn't mean you have to actually live in it. It's old and would be doing everyone in that city a favor if it were torn down. I thump my head against the headrest, rolling my eyes upward and trying to find patience weaved into the stained roof of my car. How did I manage to get ketchup up there? And just because you don't like it doesn't mean I can't live in it, I retort dryly. My mother is a bitch, plain and simple. She's always had a chip on her shoulder, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why. "You'll be living an hour from us. That will be incredibly inconvenient for you to come visit us, won't it?" Oh, how will I ever survive? Pretty sure my gynecologist is an hour away too, but I still make an effort to see her once a year, and those visits are far more painful. "Nope," I reply, popping the P. I'm over this conversation. My patience only lasts an entire 60 seconds talking to my mother. After that, I'm running on fumes and have no desire to put in any more effort to keep the conversation moving along. If it's not one thing, it's the other. She always manages to find something to complain about. This time, it's my choice to live in the house my grandparents gave to me. I grew up in Parsons Manor, running alongside the ghosts in the halls and baking cookies with Nana. I have fond memories here, memories I refuse to let go of just because Mom didn't get along with Nana. I never understood the tension between them, but as I got older and started to comprehend Mom's snarkiness and underhanded insults for what they were, it made sense. Nana always had a positive, sunny outlook on life, viewing the world through rose-colored glasses. She was always smiling and humming, while Mom is cursed with a perpetual scowl on her face and looking at life like her glasses got smashed when she was plunged out of Nana's vagina. I don't know why her personality never developed past that of a porcupine. She was never raised to be a prickly bitch. Growing up, my mom and dad had a house only a mile away from Parsons Manor. She could barely tolerate me, so I spent most of my childhood in this house. It wasn't until I left for college that Mom moved out of town an hour away. When I quit college, I moved in with her until I got back on my feet and my writing career took off. And when it did, I decided to travel around the country, never really settling in one place. Nana died about a year ago, gifting me the house in her will, but my grief hindered me from moving into Parsons Manor. Until now. Mom sighs again through the phone. I just wish you had more ambition in life instead of staying in the town you grew up in, sweetie. Do something more with your life than waste away in that house like your grandmother did. I don't want you to become worthless like her. A snarl overtakes my face, fury tearing throughout my chest. Hey, Mom? Yes? Fuck off. I hang up the phone, angrily smashing my finger into the screen until I hear the telltale chime that the call has ended. How dare she speak of her own mother that way when she was nothing but loved and cherished? Nana certainly didn't treat her the way she treats me, that's for damn sure. I rip a page from Mom's book and let loose a melodramatic sigh, turning to look out my side window. Said house stands tall, the tip of the black roof spearing through the gloomy clouds and looming over the vastly wooded area, as if to say, "You shall fear me." Peering over my shoulder, the dense thicket of trees are no more inviting, their shadows crawling from the overgrowth with outstretched claws. I shiver, delighting in the ominous feeling radiating from this small portion of the cliff. It looks exactly as it did from my childhood, and it gives me no less of a thrill to peer into the infinite blackness. Parsons Manor is stationed on a cliffside overlooking the bay with a mile-long driveway stretching through a heavily wooded area. The congregation of trees separates this house from the rest of the world, making you feel like you're well and truly alone. Sometimes it feels like you're on an entirely different planet, ostracized from civilization. The whole area has a menacing, sorrowful aura, and I fucking love it. The house has begun to decay, but it can be fixed up to look like new again with a bit of TLC. Hundreds of vines crawl up all sides of the structure, climbing towards the gargoyles stationed on the roof on either side of the manor. The black siding is fading to a gray and starting to peel away, and the black paint around the windows is chipping like cheap nail polish. I'll have to hire someone to give the large front porch a facelift, since it's starting to sag on one side. The lawn is long overdue for a haircut, the blades of grass nearly as tall as me, and the 3 acres of clearing bursting with weeds. I bet plenty of snakes have settled in nicely since it's last been mowed. Nana used to offset the manor's dark shade with blooms of colorful flowers during the spring season. Hyacinths, primroses, violas, and rhododendron. And in autumn, sunflowers would be crawling up the sides of the house. The bright yellows and oranges in the petals, a beautiful contrast against the black siding. I can plant a garden around the front of the house again when the season calls for it. This time, I'll plant strawberries, lettuce, and herbs as well. I'm deep in my musings when my eyes snag on movement from above. Curtains flutter in the lone window at the very top of the house. The attic. Last time I checked, there's no central air up there. Nothing should be able to move those curtains. But yet, I don't doubt what I saw. Coupled with the looming storm in the background, Parsons Manor looks like a scene out of a horror film. I suck my bottom lip between my teeth, unable to stop the smile from forming on my face. I love that. I can't explain why, but I do. Fuck what my mother says. I'm living here. I'm a successful writer and have the freedom to live anywhere. So what if I decide to live in a place that means a lot to me? That doesn't make me a lowlife for staying in my hometown. I travel enough with book tours and conferences. Settling down in a house won't change that. I know what the fuck I want, and I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks about it. Especially Mommy Dearest. The clouds yawn and rain spills from their mouths. I grab my purse and step out of my car, inhaling the scent of fresh rain. It turns from a light sprinkle to a torrential downpour in a matter of seconds. I bolt up the front porch steps, flinging drops of water off my arms and shaking my body out like a wet dog. I love storms. I just don't like to be in them. I'd prefer to cuddle up under the blankets with a mug of tea and a book while listening to the rain fall. I slide the key into the lock and turn it, but it's stuck, refusing to give me even a millimeter. I jimmy the key, wrestling with it until the mechanism finally turns, and I'm able to unlock the door. Guess I'm gonna have to fix that soon, too. A chilling draft welcomes me as I open the door. I shiver from the mixture of freezing rain still wet on my skin and the cold, stale air. The interior of the house is cast in shadows. Dim light shines through the windows, gradually fading as the sun disappears behind gray storm clouds. I feel as if I should start my story with, "It was a dark, stormy night." I look up and smile when I see the black-ribbed ceiling, made up of hundreds of thin, long pieces of wood. A grand chandelier is hanging over my head, golden steel warped in an intricate design with crystals dangling from the tips. It's always been Nana's most prized possession. The black and white checkered floors lead directly to the black grand staircase, large enough to fit a piano through sideways, and flow off into the living room. My boots squeak against the tiles as I venture further inside. This floor is primarily an open concept, making it feel like the monstrosity of the home could swallow you whole. The living area is to the left of the staircase. I purse my lips and look around, nostalgia hitting me straight in the gut. Dust coats every surface, and the smell of mothballs is overpowering, but it looks exactly how I last saw it, right before Nana died last year. A large black stone fireplace is in the center of the living room on the far left wall, with red velvet couches squared around it. An ornate wooden coffee table sits in the middle, an empty vase atop the dark wood. Nana used to fill it with lilies, but now it only collects dust and bug carcasses. The walls are covered in black paisley wallpaper, offset by heavy golden curtains. One of my favorite parts is the large bay window at the front of the house, providing a beautiful view of the forest beyond Parsons Manor. Placed right in front of it is a red velvet rocking chair with a matching stool. Nana used to sit there and watch the rain, and she said her mother would always do the same. The checkered tiling extends into the kitchen with beautiful black-stained cabinets and marble countertops. A massive island sits in the middle with black bar stools lining one side. Grandpa and I used to sit there and watch Nana cook, enjoying her humming to herself as she whipped up delicious meals. Shaking away the memories, I rush over to a tall lamp by the rocking chair and flick on the light. I release a sigh of relief when a buttery soft glow emits from the bulb. A few days ago, I had called to get the utilities turned on in my name, but you can never be too sure when dealing with an old house. Then I walk over to the thermostat, the number causing another shiver to rack my body. 62 goddamn degrees. I press my thumb into the up arrow and don't stop until the temperature is set to 74. I don't mind cooler temperatures, but I'd prefer it if my nipples didn't cut through all of my clothing. I turn back around and face a home that's both old and new. A home that's housed my heart since I could remember, even if my body left for a little while. And then I smile, basking in the Gothic glory of Parsons Manor. It's how my great-grandparents decorated the house, and the taste has passed down through the generations. Nana used to say that she liked it best when she was the brightest thing in the room. Despite that, she still had old people's taste. I mean, really, why do those white throw pillows have a border of lace around them and a weird embroidered bouquet of flowers in the middle? That's not cute. That's ugly. I sigh. Well, Nana, I came back, just like you wanted. I whisper to the dead air. Are you ready? My personal assistant asks from beside me. I glance over at Marietta, noting how she's absently holding out the mic to me, her attention ensnared on the people still filtering into the small building. This local bookstore wasn't built for a large number of people, but somehow they're making it work anyway. Hordes of people are piling into the cramped space, converging in a uniform line, and waiting for the signing to start. My eyes rove over the crowd, silently counting in my head. I lose count after 30. Yep, I say. I grab the mic, and after catching everyone's attention, the murmurs fade to silence. Dozens of eyeballs bore into me, creating a flush all the way to my cheeks. It makes my skin crawl, but I love my readers, so I power through it. Before we start, I just wanted to take a quick second to thank you all for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm incredibly excited to meet you all. Everyone ready? I ask, forcing excitement into my tone. It's not that I'm not excited, I just tend to get incredibly awkward during book signings. I'm not a natural when it comes to social interactions. I'm the type to stare dead into your face with a frozen smile after being asked a question, while my brain processes the fact that I didn't even hear the question. It's usually because my heart is thumping too loud in my ears. I settle down in my chair and ready my Sharpie. Marietta runs off to handle other matters, shooting me a quick good luck. She's witnessed my mishaps with readers and has the tendency to get secondhand embarrassment with me. Guess it's one of the downfalls of representing a social pariah. Come back, Marietta. It's so much more fun when I'm not the only one getting embarrassed. The first reader approaches me, my book The Wanderer in her hands with a beaming smile on her freckled face. Oh my God, it's so awesome to meet you, she exclaims, nearly shoving the book in my face. Totally a me move. I smile wide and gently take the book. It's awesome to meet you too, I return. And hey, Team Freckles. I tack on, waving my forefinger between her face and mine. She gives a bit of an awkward laugh, her fingers drifting over her cheeks. What's your name? I rush out before we get stuck on a weird conversation about skin conditions. Geez, Addie, what if she hates her freckles? Dumbass. Megan, she replies, and then spells the name out for me. My hand trembles as I carefully write out her name and a quick appreciation note. My signature is sloppy, but that pretty much represents the entirety of my existence. I hand the book back and thank her with a genuine smile. As the next reader approaches, pressure settles on my face. Someone is staring at me. But that's a fucking stupid thought because everyone is staring at me. I try to ignore it and give the next reader a big-ass smile, but the feeling only intensifies until it feels like bees are buzzing beneath the surface of my skin while a torch is being held to my flesh. It's unlike anything I've felt before. The hairs on the back of my neck rise, and I feel the apples of my cheeks heating to a bright red. Half of my attention is on the book I'm signing and the gushing reader, while the other half is on the crowd. My eyes subtly sweep the expanse of the bookstore, attempting to scope out the source of my discomfort without making it obvious. My gaze hooks on a lone person standing in the very back. A man. The crowd shrouds the majority of his body, only bits of his face peeking through the gaps between people's heads. But what I do see has my hand stilling mid-right. His eyes. One so dark and bottomless it feels like staring into a well, and the other an ice blue so light it's nearly white, reminding me of a husky's eyes. A scar slashes straight down through the discolored eye, as if it didn't already demand attention. When a throat clears, I jump, snatching my eyes away and looking back to the book. My Sharpie has been resting in the same spot, creating a big black ink dot. Sorry, I mutter, finishing off my signature. I reach over and snag a bookmark, sign that too, and tuck it in the book as an apology. The reader beams at me, mistake already forgotten, and scurries off with her book. When I look back to find the man, he's gone. Addie, you need to get laid. In response, I wrap my lips around my straw and slurp my blueberry martini as deeply as my mouth will allow. Daya, my best friend, eyes me, entirely unimpressed and impatient based on the quirk of her brow. I think I need a bigger mouth. More alcohol would fit in it. I don't say this out loud because I can bet my left ass cheek that her follow-up response would be to use it for a bigger dick instead. When I continue sucking on the straw, she reaches over and rips the plastic from my lips. I've reached the bottom of the glass a solid 15 seconds ago and have just been sucking air through the straw. It's the most action my mouth has gotten in a year now. Whoa, personal space, I mumble, setting the glass down. I avoid Daya's eyes, searching the restaurant for the waitress so I can order another martini. The faster I have the straw in my mouth again, the sooner I can avoid this conversation some more. Don't deflect, bitch. You suck at it. Our eyes meet. A beat passes, and we both burst into laughter. I suck at getting laid, too, apparently, I say after our laughing calms. Daya gives me a droll look. You've had plenty of opportunities, you just don't take them. You're a hot 26-year-old woman with freckles, a great pair of tits, and an ass to die for. The men are out here waiting. I shrug, deflecting again. Daya isn't exactly wrong, at least about having options. I'm just not interested in any of them. They all bore me. All I get is, what are you wearing and want to come over? Winky face at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm wearing the same sweatpants I've been wearing the past week. There's a mysterious stain on my crotch, and no, I don't want to fucking come over. She flips out an expectant hand. Give me your phone. My eyes widen. Fuck no. Adeline Riley, give me your fucking phone. Or what? I taunt. Or I will throw myself across the table, embarrass the absolute shit out of you, and get my way anyways. My eyes finally catch on our waitress, and I flag her down, desperately. She rushes over, probably thinking I found a hair in my food, when really my best friend just has one up her ass right now. I procrastinate a little bit longer, asking the waitress what drink she prefers. I'd look through the drink menu a second time if it weren't rude to keep her waiting when she has other tables. So alas, I pick a strawberry martini in favor of the green apple, and the waitress rushes off again. Sigh. I hand the phone over, slapping it in Daya's still outstretched hand, extra firm because I hate her. She smiles triumphantly and starts typing away, the mischievous glimmer in her eye growing brighter. Her thumbs go into turbo speed, causing the golden rings wrapped around them to nearly blur. Her sage green eyes are illuminated with a type of evilness you would only find in Satan's Bible. If I did a little digging, I'm sure I'd find her picture somewhere in there, too. A bombshell with dark brown skin, pin-straight black hair, and a gold hoop in her nose. She's probably an evil succubus or something. Who are you texting? I groan, nearly stomping my feet like a child. I refrain, but come close to allowing a little of my social anxiety to air out and do something crazy like throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the restaurant. It probably doesn't help that I'm on my third martini and feeling a tad adventurous right about now. She glances up, locks my phone, and hands it back a few seconds later. Immediately, I unlock it again and start searching through my messages. I groan aloud once more when I see she sexted Grayson. Not texted, sexted. Come over tonight and lick my pussy. I've been craving your huge cock. I read aloud dryly. That's not even all of it. The rest goes into how horny I am and touch myself every night at the thought of him. I growl and give her the filthiest look I can manage. My face would make a dumpster look like Mr. Clean's house. I wouldn't even say that, I complain. That doesn't even sound like me, you bitch. Daya cackles, the teeny little gap between her front teeth on full display. I really do hate her. My phone pings. Daya is nearly bouncing in her seat while I'm contemplating Googling 1,000 ways to die's contact information so I can send them a new story. Read it. she demands, her grabby hands already reaching for my phone so she can see what he said. I jerk it out of her reach and pull up the message.
Grayson, about time you came to your senses, baby. Be over at 8.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I really fucking hate you, I grumble, giving her another scowl. She smiles and slurps on her drink. I love you too, baby girl.
Fuck, Addie, I've missed you.
Grayson breathes into my neck, humping me against the wall. My tailbone is going to be bruised in the morning. I roll my eyes when he slurps at my neck again, groaning when he rolls his dick into the apex of my thighs. Deciding I needed to get over myself and blow off some steam, I didn't cancel on Grayson like I wanted to. Like I want to. I regret that decision. Currently, he has me pinned against the wall in my creepy hallway. Old-fashioned sconces line the blood-red walls, with dozens of family pictures from generations in between. Feel like they're watching me. Scorn and disappointment in their eyes as they witness their descendant about to get railed right in front of them. Only a few of the lights work, and they just serve to illuminate the spiderwebs they're crawling with. The rest of the hallway is shadowed entirely, and I'm just waiting for the demon from the grudge to come crawling out so I have an excuse to run. I would definitely trip Grayson on the way out at this point, and not 1 inch of me is ashamed. He murmurs some more dirty things into my ear while I inspect the sconce hanging above our heads. Grayson said in passing once that he's scared of spiders. I wonder if I can discreetly reach up, pluck a spider from its web, and put it down the back of Grayson's shirt. That would light a fire under his ass to get out of here, and he'd probably be too embarrassed to talk to me again. Win-win. Just when I actually go to do it, he rears back, panting from all the solo French kissing he's been doing with my throat. It's like he was waiting for my neck to lick him back or something. His copper hair is mussed from my hands, and his pale skin is stained with a blush. The curse of being a redhead, I suppose. Grayson has everything else going for him in the looks department. He's hot as sin, has a beautiful body and a killer smile. Too bad he can't fuck and is a complete and utter douchebag.
Let's take this to the bedroom. I need to be inside of you now.
Internally, I cringe. Externally, I cringe. I try to play it off by jerking my shirt over my head. He has the attention span of a beagle. And just like I suspected, he's already forgotten about my little blunder and is staring intensely at my tits. Daya was right about that, too. I do have great tits. He reaches up to tear the bra from my body. I probably would have smacked him if he actually ripped it, but he freezes when loud banging interrupts us from the main floor. The sound is so sudden, so violently loud that I gasp, my heart pounding in my chest. Our eyes meet in stunned silence. Someone is pounding on my front door, and they don't sound too nice.
Are you expecting someone?
He asks, his hand dropping to his side, seemingly frustrated by the interruption. No, I breathe. I quickly tug my shirt back on, backwards, and rush down the creaky steps. Taking a moment to check outside the window next to the door, I see the front porch is vacant. My brow furrows. Letting the curtain fall, I stand in front of the door, the stillness of the night closing in on the manor. Grayson walks up beside me and looks over at me with a confused expression.
You gonna answer that?
He asks, dumbly, pointing at the door as if I didn't know it was right in front of me. I almost thank him for the directions just to be an ass, but refrain. Something about that knock has my instincts blaring code red. The knock sounded aggressive, angry, like someone had pounded on the door with all their strength. A real man would offer to open the door for me after hearing such a violent sound, especially when we're surrounded by a mile of thick woods and 100-foot drop into the water. But instead, Grayson stares at me expectantly, and a little like I'm stupid. Huffing, I unlock the door and whip it open. Again, no one is there. I step out onto the porch, the rotting floorboards groaning beneath my weight. Cold wind stirs my cinnamon hair, the strands tickling my face and sending shivers racing across my skin. Goosebumps rise as I tuck my hair behind my ears and walk over to one end of the porch. Leaning over the rail, I look down the side of the house. No one. No one on the other side of the house either. There could easily be someone watching me in the woods, but I have no way of knowing with it being so dark. Not unless I go out there and search myself. And as much as I love horror films, I have no interest in starring in one. Grayson joins me on the porch, his own eyes scanning the trees. There's someone watching me. I can feel it. I'm as sure of it as I am about the existence of gravity. Chills run down my spine, accompanied by a burst of adrenaline. It's the same feeling I get when I watch a scary movie. It begins with the beat of my heart. Then a heavy weight settles deep in my stomach, eventually sinking to my core. I shift, not entirely comfortable with the feeling right now. Huffing, I rush back into the house and up the steps. Grayson trails behind me. I don't notice he's in the middle of undressing as he walks down the hallway until he steps into my room after me. When I turn, he's stark naked. Seriously? I bite out. What a fucking idiot. Someone just banged on my door like the wood personally put a splinter in their ass, and he's immediately ready to pick up where he left off. Slurping on my neck like one would slurp Jell-O out of a container.
What?
He asks incredulously, splaying his arms out to his sides. Did you not just hear what I heard? Someone was banging on my door, and it was kind of scary. I'm not in the mood to have sex right now. What happened to chivalry? I would think a normal man would ask if I'm okay. Feel out how I'm feeling, maybe try to make sure I'm nice and relaxed before sticking their dick inside me. You know, read the fucking room.
You serious?
He questions, anger sparking in his brown eyes. They're a shitty color, just like his shitty personality and even shittier stroke game. The dude gives fish a run for their money, the way he flops when he fucks. Might as well lay out naked in the fish market. He'd have a better chance of finding someone to take him home. That person is not going to be me. Yes, I'm serious, I say with exasperation.
God damn it, Addie.
He snaps, angrily swiping up a sock and putting it on. He looks like an idiot, completely naked, save for a single sock, because the rest of his clothes are still thrown haphazardly in my hallway. He storms out of my room, snatching up articles of clothing as he goes. When he gets about halfway down the long hallway, he stops and turns to me.
You're such a bitch, Addie. All you do is give me blue balls, and I'm sick of it. I'm done with you in this creepy fucking house.
He seethes, pointing a finger at me. And you're an asshole. Get the fuck out of my house, Grayson. His eyes widen with shock first, and then narrow into thin slits, brimming with fury. He turns, cocks his arm back, and sends his fist flying into the drywall. A gasp is ripped from my throat when half of his arm disappears, my mouth parting in both shock and disbelief.
Since I'm not getting yours, thought I'd create my own hole to get into tonight. Fix that, bitch.
He spits. Still sporting only one sock and an armful of clothes, he storms off. You dick! I rage, stomping towards the large hole in my wall he just created. The front door slams a minute later from below. I hope the mysterious person is still out there. Let the asshole get murdered wearing a single sock. April 4th, 1944. There's a strange man outside my window. I don't know who he is or what he wants from me, but I think he knows me. He watches me through the windows when John's not home. He wears a top hat on his head, concealing his face from me. I've tried to approach him, but when I do, he runs away. I haven't told John yet. I cannot fathom why, but something keeps me from opening my mouth and admitting that a man is watching me. John wouldn't handle it well. He'd go out with his shotgun and try to find him. I must admit, I'm more afraid of what would happen to my visitor should my husband succeed. I'm very afraid of this strange man, but my God, am I also intrigued.
Chapter 2. The Shadow. The screams of pain bouncing around the cement walls are getting a tad annoying. Sometimes it sucks being the hacker and the enforcer. I really fucking enjoy hurting people, but tonight I have no goddamn patience for this whiny asshole. And normally I have the patience of a saint. I know how to wait for what I want most. But when I'm trying to get some real answers and the dude's too busy shitting his pants and crying to give me a coherent response, I get a little testy. This knife is about to go halfway through your eyeball, I warn. I'm not even going to show you any mercy and shove it all the way through to your brain. Fuck, man, he cries. I told you that I just went to the warehouse a few times. I don't know anything about some fucking ritual. So you're useless, is what you're saying, I surmise, inching the blade towards his eye. He squeezes them shut as if skin that's no thicker than a centimeter is going to prevent the knife from going through his eye. Fucking laughable. No, he pleads. I know someone there that might be able to give you more information. Sweat drips down his nose, mixing with the blood on his face. His overgrown, greasy blonde hair is matted to his forehead and the back of his neck. Guess it's not actually blonde anymore, since most of it is painted red now. I had already cut off one of his ears, along with ripping off 10 of his fingernails, severed both Achilles' heels, a couple of stab wounds in specific locations that won't allow the fucker to bleed out too quickly, and too many broken bones to count. Dickhead won't be getting up and walking out of here, that's for damn sure. Less crying, more talking, I bark, scraping the tip of the knife against his still-closed eyelid. He cringes away from the knife, tears bubbling out from beneath his lashes. His name is Fernando. He's one of the operation leaders in charge of sending out mules to help capture the girls. He's a big deal in the warehouse, basically runs the whole thing there. Fernando what? I snap. He sobs. I don't know, man, he wails. He just introduced himself as Fernando. Then what does he look like? I grind out impatiently through gritted teeth. He sniffles, snot leaking down his chapped lips. Mexican, bald, has a scar cutting across his hairline, and a beard. You can't miss the scar, it's pretty fucked looking. I roll my neck, groaning as the muscles pop. It's been a long fucking day. Cool. Thanks, man. I say casually, as if I haven't been torturing him slowly for the past 3 hours. His breathing calms, and he looks up at me through ugly brown eyes, hope radiating from them in spades. I almost laugh. You're letting me go? He asks, staring up at me like a goddamn stray puppy dog. Sure, I chirp. If you can get up and walk. He looks down at his severed heels, knowing just as well as I do if he stands his body will go pitching forward. Please, man, he blubbers. Can you help me out here? I nod slowly. Yeah, I think I can do that, I say, right before I swing my arm back and plunge the entirety of my knife through his pupil. He dies instantly. Not even all the hope has vanished from his eyes yet, or rather his one eye. You're a child rapist, I say aloud, though he's no longer capable of hearing me. Like I'd let you live. I finish on a laugh. I slide my knife from the socket, the suction noise threatening to ruin any dinner plans I had in the next several hours, which is annoying, 'cause I'm hungry. While I do enjoy myself a good torture session, I'm definitely not a dickhead that gets off on the sounds that accompany it. The gurgling, slurping, and other weird noises bodies make when enduring extreme pain and foreign objects being plunged into them is not a soundtrack I'd ever fall asleep to. And now for the worst part, dismembering it into bits and pieces and disposing of them properly. I don't trust other people to do it for me, so I'm stuck with the tedious, messy job. I sigh. What is that saying? If you want it done right, do it yourself. Well, in this case, if you don't want to get caught and charged for murder, dispose of the body yourself. It feels like 10 o'clock at night, but it's only 5 p.m. As fucked as it is after dealing with human body parts, I'm in the mood for a mean-ass burger. My favorite burger joint is right off of 3rd Avenue, and not too far of a drive from my house. Parking is a bitch in Seattle, so I'm forced to park a few blocks away and walk there. A storm is rolling in, and soon sheets of rain will be descending on our heads and shoulders like ice picks. Typical Seattle weather. I whistle an unnamed tune as I walk down the street, passing shops and an array of stores with people bustling in and out like a bunch of worker ants. Ahead of me there's a bookstore lit up, the warm glow shining onto the cold, wet pavement and inviting passers-by into its warmth. As I near, I notice it's packed full of people. I spare it a single glance before moving on. I don't care about fiction books. I only read the ones that are going to teach me something, particularly about computer science and hacking. By now there's nothing those books can teach me anymore. I've mastered and then surpassed it. As I'm turning my head to look at some other shit, my eyes get caught up on a board right outside the bookstore, a smiling face beaming back at me. Without permission, my feet slow until they're glued to the cement sidewalk. Someone bumps into me from behind, their smaller stature barely knocking me forward, but it does manage to jolt me out of the weird trance I fell into anyway. I turn to glare at the enraged guy behind me, their mouth opening and gearing up to cuss me out, yet the second he gets one look at my scarred face, he takes off into a half-walk, half-run. I'd laugh if I weren't so distracted. Before me is a picture of an author that's hosting a book signing. She's fucking incredible. Long, wavy cinnamon hair brushed over dainty shoulders, creamy, ivory skin with freckles dotting her nose and cheeks, light and sporadic without overwhelming her innocent face. Her eyes are what draw me in, sultry, slanted eyes, the type that always looks seductive without trying. They're nearly the same color as her hair. A brown so light it's unusual. One look from this girl and any man would be on their knees. Her lips are pouty and pink, stretched into a radiant smile with straight white teeth. I note the name below the picture. Adeline Riley. A beautiful name fit for a goddess. She doesn't have that plastic beauty you see lining the magazine rack. Though she could easily make it on one of those covers without Photoshop and surgery, her features are natural. I've seen a lot of beautiful women in my life. Fucked a lot, too. But something about her captivates me. It feels like a hurricane is at my back, pushing me towards her and leaving no room for resistance. My feet are carrying me into the bookstore, my black boots soaking the welcome mat at the entrance. The only lingering scent filling the air is one you attain from used books, though convoluted from the large group of people congesting the area. This small structure wasn't built to house more than the 10 large bookshelves lining the left side of the room, the small checkout desk on the right side, and maybe 30 people. Now, there's a large table in the middle of the room where the author sits, and at least double the occupancy limit packed in the stuffy store. It's too hot in here, too crowded. And one asshole beside me keeps picking his nose, his dirty hand touching all over the book he's holding. I glimpse Riley on the cover. Poor girl, forced to sign a book that probably has boogers all over it. I open my mouth ready to tell the fucker to stop looking for treasure in his nostrils when it feels like heaven's gates open up. In that second, the people in front of us seem to part at the perfect angle, providing me with a clear view. I only see her from the corner of my eye at first, but the small glimpse is enough to send my heart into a tailspin. My head turns like one of those creepy bitches in an Exorcist movie, slow, but instead of an evil smile, I'm sure I look like I just found out that there's evidence the earth is actually flat or some shit, because that's also fucking laughable. Oxygen, words, coherent thoughts, all that shit escapes me when I get my first look at Adeline Riley in the flesh. Shit. She's even more exquisite in person. The sight of her has my knees weakening and my pulse racing. I don't know if God really exists. I don't know if mankind has ever walked on the moon, nor do I know if parallel universes exist. But what I do know is that I just found the meaning of life sitting behind a table with an awkward smile on her face. Taking a deep breath, I find a spot against the wall in the back. I don't want to get too close yet. No, I want to watch her for a while. So I stay in the back, peeking through dozens of heads to get a good look at her. Thank God for my height, because I'd probably barrel through everybody if I were short. A tall, willowy woman hands my new obsession a microphone, and for a brief moment the latter looks like she's ready to bolt. She stares at the mic as if the woman is handing over a severed head. But the look is gone in seconds, barely there before she slides her mask in place, and then she snatches the microphone and brings it to her wobbly lips.
Before we start...
Fuck. Her voice is pure smoke. The kind you really only hear in porn videos. I suck in my bottom lip, biting back a groan. I lean against the wall and watch her, absolutely enthralled with the little creature before me. Something inexplicably dark arises in my chest. It's black and evil and cruel, dangerous even. All I want to do is break her, shatter her into pieces, and then arrange those pieces to fit against my own. I don't care if they don't fit. I'll fucking make them. And I know I'm about to do something bad. I know that I'm going to cross lines that I will never be able to come back from. But there's not an ounce of me that gives a fuck. Because I'm obsessed. I'm addicted. And I will gladly cross every single line if it means making this girl mine. If it means forcing her to be mine. My mind has already been made up. The decision fortifying like granite in my brain. At that moment, her wandering eyes slide right onto mine, clashing with a force that nearly sends my knees to the ground. Her eyes round in the corners ever so slightly, as if she's just as enraptured by me as I am by her. And then the reader before her is pulling her attention away, and I know I need to leave now. Before I do something stupid like kidnap her in front of at least 50 witnesses. No matter. She won't be able to escape me now. I've just found myself a little mouse, and I won't stop until I've trapped her.
April 10th, 1944. My visitor is here, outside my window, watching me while I write. My hand is trembling, and I cannot tell if it's from fear or not. I couldn't explain this feeling if I tried. I've attempted to write down these feelings, explain them, but no words seem to suffice. I suppose the best way to describe it is thrilling. I don't know what is wrong with me, but something is very wrong, needless to say. When our eyes connect, my breath shortens, my blood catches fire. It feels as if an exposed wire is resting on my flesh. It's a visceral reaction, and I fear I'm becoming addicted to it. He's coming closer now. I keep meeting his eyes, getting distracted from my writing. It's becoming common now, my distractions. John has begun to notice. He peppers me with questions, asking what's on my mind. How do I tell the man I love that I'm thinking of another? How do I tell him I've begun to picture another when my husband kisses me, when it touches me? My visitor is retreating, slipping off into the darkness. I fear this man, but yet I am still far too intrigued. Chapter 3. The Manipulator. This isn't how I imagined I'd spend my Friday night. Digging around in the walls of an old-ass house with God knows what kind of creatures trapped inside. I'm just waiting for a rabid squirrel to jump up and latch onto my outstretched arm, driven mad with hunger and willing to eat anything due to so many years being trapped in the walls. Nothing but bugs to keep it fed. My arm is shoulder deep in the goddamn hole Grayson created, a flashlight held tightly in my grip. There is just enough space to fit my arm and part of my head in at an odd angle to look around. This is stupid. I'm stupid. The second I heard the door hit Grayson's ass on the way out, I inspected the damage. It's not a massive hole, but what gave me pause was the rather large gap between the two walls. At least 3 or 4 feet of space. And why else would it be built this way if there wasn't a reason? It feels like a magnet is pulling me towards it, and every time I try to pull away, a deep vibration travels through my bones. The tips of my fingers buzz with the need to reach out, to just look inside the fathomless void and find what is calling my name. Now here I am, bent over and stuffing myself in a hole. Suppose if I couldn't get mine stuffed tonight, I might as well get my action this way. The flashlight on my phone reveals wooden beams, thick cobwebs, dust, and bug carcasses on the inside of the wall. I turn the other direction and point the light down the other side. Nothing. The webs are too thick to see much, so I use my phone like a baton and start tearing down some of them. I swear if I drop it, I'll be pissed. There will be no getting it back, and I'll have to get a new one. I wince from the feel of the hair-like webs brushing across my skin, imitating the sensation of bugs crawling on me. I turn back towards the left and shine the light one more time. I bat down a couple more cobwebs, ready to just give up and ignore the siren call that got me into this dumbass situation in the first place. There. A little way down the hall is something glinting off the light. Just the barest hint, but it's enough for me to jump in excitement, knocking my head off the thick drywall and sending flakes tumbling down in my hair. Ow! Ignoring the dull throbbing in the back of my head, I rip my arm out and rush down the hallway, guesstimating the distance on where I saw the mysterious object. Grabbing a picture frame, I unhook it from its nail and gently set it down. I do this several more times until I come across a picture of my great-grandmother sitting on a retro bike, a bundle of sunflowers sitting in the basket. She smiles wide, and even though the picture is black and white, I know she's wearing red lipstick. Nana said she'd put on her red lipstick before she'd put on the coffee. I pull the picture from the wall and stifle a gasp when I see an army green safe in front of me. It's old, with a mere dial for the lock. Excitement burns in my lungs as my fingers drift over the dial. I've discovered a treasure. And I suppose I have Grayson to thank for that. Though I'd like to think I would have taken these pictures down eventually for the sake of no longer having my ancestors look down on my extremely questionable decisions. I'm staring at the safe as a cold breeze washes across my body, turning my blood into ice. The sudden freezing temperature has me turning around, my eyes sweeping the empty hallway. My teeth chatter, and I think I even see my breath puff out of my mouth. And just as quickly as it came, it dissipates. Slowly, my body warms up to a normal temperature, but the chill down my spine lingers. I'm unable to tear my eyes away from the empty space, waiting for something to happen, but as the minutes tick by, I end up just standing there. Focus, Addie. Gently setting the picture down, I decide to brush off the weird chill and Google how to break open a safe. After finding several forums that list a step-by-step process, I run off towards my grandfather's toolbox, collecting dust in the garage. The space was never used for cars, even when Nana owned the house. Instead, generations of junk collected here, consisting mainly of my grandfather's tools and some odds and ends from the house. I grab the tools I need, run back up the stairs, and proceed to force my way into the safe. The old thing is pretty shitty in terms of protection, but I suppose whoever hid this box here didn't actually expect anyone to find it. At least, not in their lifetime. Several failed attempts, bouts of frustrated groaning, and a smashed finger later, I finally crack the sucker open. Using my flashlight again, I find 3 brown leather-bound books inside. No money, no jewels, nothing of value, really. At least, not monetary value. I hadn't been hoping for those things, honestly, but I'm still surprised to find none, considering that's what most people use safes for. I reach in and grab the journals, reveling in the feel of the buttery soft leather under my fingertips. A smile breaks across my face as I trail my fingers over the inscription on the first book. Genevieve Matilda Parsons. My great-grandmother, Nana's mother. The very woman in the picture concealing the safe, notorious for her red lipstick and bright smile. Nana always said she went by the name Gigi. A quick look at the other 2 books reveals the same name. Her diaries? They have to be. Dazed, I walk to my bedroom, close the door behind me, and settle down on my bed, legs crossed. A leather cord is wrapped around each book, holding them closed. The outside world fades as I grab the first journal, carefully unwrap the cord, and open the book. It is a diary. Every page has an entry written in a feminine script, and at the bottom of each page is my great-grandmother's trademark lipstick kiss. She died before I was born, but I grew up hearing countless stories about her. Nana said she inherited her wild personality and sharp tongue from her mother. I wonder if Nana ever knew about the diaries, if she's ever read them. If Genevieve Parsons is as wild as Nana said she was, then I imagine these diaries have all sorts of stories to show me. Smiling, I open the other 2 books and confirm the date on the first page of each book to ensure I'm starting from the beginning. And then I stay up all night reading, growing more disturbed by each entry. A thump from below wakes me out of a restless sleep. It feels like being ripped from a deep, persistent fog that lingers in the recess of my brain. Blinking my eyes open, I stare at my closed door, focusing on the faint outline until my brain catches up with what I heard. My heart is well ahead of me, the muscle beating inside my chest rapidly while the hairs on the back of my neck rise. A cloud of unease rolls in the pit of my stomach, and it's not until several seconds later that I realize the sound I heard was the shutting of my front door. Slowly, I sit up and slide out from under the covers. Adrenaline is coursing through my system now, and I'm wide awake. Someone was just inside my house. The sound could have been anything. It could have been the foundation settling, or shit, even a couple of ghosts roughhousing. But just like when your gut is telling you something bad is going to happen, mine is telling me that someone was just in my fucking house. Was it the person that pounded on my door? It has to be, right? It's too much of a coincidence to have a stranger deliberately trek over a mile to the manor just to bang on the door and leave. And now they're back. If they ever left at all. Shakily, I get up from my bed, a cold chill washing over me and puckering my skin into goosebumps. I shiver, nabbing my phone from the nightstand and pad lightly over to the door. Slowly, I open it, cringing at the loud creak that rings out. I need the Tin Man to oil the hinges on my door just as much as I need the lion's bravery. I'm shaking like a leaf, but I refuse to cower and let someone walk around my house freely. Flipping the switch on, the few working lights flicker, illuminating the hallway just enough for my mind to play tricks on me and conjure shadow people residing just beyond the light. And as I slowly make my way towards the staircase, I feel eyes from the pictures lining the walls watching me as I pass by. Watching me make yet another stupid mistake. As if they're saying, "Stupid girl, you're about to get murdered. Watch your back. They're right behind you." The last thought has me gasping and turning around, though I know no one is actually behind me. My stupid fucking brain is a little bit too imaginative. A trait that works wonders for my career, but I don't fucking appreciate it in this very moment. Forging on at a quicker pace, I make my way down the stairs. Immediately, I turn on the lights, wincing from the brightness that burns my retinas. Better than the alternative. I would die on the spot if I was searching around with a single beam of light and found someone lurking in my house that way. 1 second, no one is there, and the next second, hello, there's my murderer. No fucking thank you. When I don't find anyone in the living room or kitchen, I whip around and turn the knob on my front door. It's still locked, which means that whoever left somehow managed to relock the door. Or they never actually left. Sucking in a sharp breath, I storm through the living room and into the kitchen, gunning straight for the knives. But I catch a glimpse of something resting on the island out of my peripheral, freezing me in place. My eyes jump to the item, and a curse escapes my lips when I see a single red rose resting on the countertop. I stare at the flower like it's a live tarantula, staring straight back at me and daring me to come closer. If I do, it'll surely eat me alive. Letting out a shaky breath, I pluck the flower from the countertop and roll it in my fingers. The thorns have been severed from the stem, and I get the strange inclination that it was done purposely to save my fingers from being pricked. But that notion is crazy. If someone is sneaking into my house at night and leaving me flowers, their intentions are the exact opposite of virtuous. They're trying to scare me. Curling my fist, I crush the flower in the palm of my hand and throw it in the trash, and then I resume my original mission. I rip open the drawer, the silverware clanking loudly in the silence, and then slam it shut after selecting the largest knife. I'm too pissed to be quiet and sneaky. Whoever is hiding in here will hear me coming from a mile away, but I don't care. I have no desire to hide. I'm seething now. I don't like someone thinking they can just break into my home while I'm sleeping upstairs. And I especially don't like someone making me feel vulnerable in my own house. And then, to have the audacity to leave me a flower like a fucking weirdo, they may have made that rose powerless by clipping its thorns. But I will gladly show them a rose is still fucking deadly when it's shoved down their throat. I thoroughly checked the main and second floor, but don't find anyone waiting for me. It isn't until I'm at the end of the hallway on the second floor, staring at the door that leads to the attic, that my search comes to a screeching halt. I'm frozen to the spot. Every time I try to force my feet forward, berating myself for not searching every single room in the manor, I can't bring myself to move. Every single one of my instincts is screaming at me to not go near that door, that I will find something terrifying if I do. The attic was where Nana would often retreat, spending her days up there knitting while humming a tune, several fans blowing at her from every direction during the summertime. I swear I hear those tunes coming from the attic some days, but I can't ever bring myself to go up there and look. A feat that I apparently won't ever come tonight, either. I don't have the courage to go up there. The adrenaline fumes are running out, and exhaustion is weighing heavily on my bones. Sighing, I drag my feet back down to the kitchen to grab a glass of water. I chug it in 3 swallows before refilling and emptying it again. I slump down on the bar stool in front of the island, finally setting the knife down. A thin layer of sweat dampens my forehead, and when I lean over and rest it against the cold marble countertop, it sends chills throughout my body. The person is gone, but my house isn't the only thing they intruded on tonight. They're in my head now, just like they fucking wanted. Someone broke into my house last night. I confess, my phone trapped between my ear and shoulder. The spoon clinks in the ceramic mug as I stir my coffee. I'm on my second cup and it still feels like I have dumbbells for eyes and my lids are in a losing weightlifting battle. After the creep left last night, I couldn't fall back asleep. So I went through the entire house, confirming all the windows were locked. Finding that they were unsettled me more. Every single door and window had been locked before and after they left, so how the fuck did they get in and out? Hold on, you said what? Someone broke into your house? Daya shrieks. Yep, I say. They left a red rose on my countertop. Silence. Never thought I'd see the day Daya Pearson is speechless. That's not all that happened, though. Just the worst of it in the grand scheme of last night's fuckery, I suppose. What else happened? She asks sharply. Well, Grayson is an asshole. He was in the middle of trying to locate a mysterious hole in my neck with his tongue when someone pounded on my front door. And I mean, like, hard. We went and looked, and no one was there. I'm assuming it was my new friend that did it. Are you fucking serious? I go on to explain the rest. Grayson's douchery. I got hung up on complaining about that just a bit. Then his fist going into my wall and his dramatic exit. I don't mention the safe and the diaries I found or what I read in them. I haven't processed it yet, or the irony in reading her sordid love story, and then someone breaking into my house the same night. I'm coming over today, Daya declares when I finish. I have to clean out the house today to prepare for renovations, I counter, already exhausted from the thought of it. I'll help then. We'll day drink to keep it interesting. A small smile forms on my face. Daya has always been a great friend to me. She's been my best friend since middle school. We kept in contact after graduation, even after we both moved away to different colleges. Our lives only allowed us to see each other for holidays and an annual haunted fair the past several years. I dropped out of college after a year and pursued my writing career, while Daya got a degree in computer science. Somehow, she wormed her way into some hacker group and is pretty much a vigilante for the people, exposing the government's secrets to the public. She's the biggest conspiracy theorist I've ever met, but even I can admit that the shit she finds is disturbing and has too much evidence to be considered a theory anymore. Regardless, both of our jobs allow us ample amounts of freedom in our day-to-day life. We're luckier than most. I really appreciate that. I'll see you soon, I say before hanging up. I sigh and look over at the diaries sitting on the island in front of me. I haven't finished reading the first book yet, and I'm nervous about continuing. With every passing word, I want to reject Gigi. Almost as much as I want to be her. April 12th, 1944. He came back again. I dare say I would be disappointed if he didn't. John left for work, and Serafina went off to school. The minute the house emptied, I waited by the window. Not my proudest moment, I must admit. This time, he walked into the house. I froze when he did, terrified of what he would do, but also anticipating his next move. When he revealed the entirety of his face to me, without shadows concealing his features, my breath caught. He's beautiful, piercing blue eyes, a strong jawline, and big, so very big. He approached me, still refusing to speak. He caressed my face with his fingers so gently. He circled around me, letting his fingers drift across my skin. I shivered beneath his touch, and he smiled. His smile made my heart stop in my chest. And then he left. Walked out without a word. I almost pleaded for him to come back, but I stopped myself. He'll be back. Chapter 4. The Manipulator. Your grandma was a freak, Daya announces before proceeding to hold up old dusty lingerie. I balk, perturbed by the sight in front of me. My idiot friend is holding the sides of the lacy underwear and flapping her tongue provocatively, or what's supposed to be provocative. I'm far more disturbed than anything right about now. Please, stop. She rolls her eyes to the back of her head, dramatically mimicking an orgasm, which ends up looking more like an exorcism to me. You're being entirely inappropriate right now. What if my Nana can see you? That sets her straight. The panties drop, and so does her expression. You think she's a ghost? She asks, her wide eyes searching the house like an apparition of Nana is about to play peekaboo with her. I roll my eyes. Nana probably would if she could, too. Nana loved this house. I wouldn't be surprised if she stayed. I shrug my shoulders nonchalantly. I've seen apparitions, and a lot of unexplainable shit happen. You really know how to sober a bitch up, you know that? She complains, throwing the lingerie in the trash bin a tad aggressively. I smile, pleased by her assessment. Whatever gets her to stop waving my grandmother's crusty underwear in my face. I'll go make us another drink. I placate, heaving up a massive trash bag and hefting it over my shoulder. I'm not proud of the huff of breath that shoots from my lungs or the immediate sweat I break out into. I really need to stop drinking and work out more. I'll make it a New Year's resolution. It's pretty much a given that I'll try for a week and give up, promising to try again next year. It happens every time. Make it extra strong. I'm going to need it now that I feel like there are demons watching me. I roll my eyes again. Just do a little striptease. That'll scare 'em away. I deadpan. A whoosh of air next to my ear sends my hair dancing, and a second later a roll of duct tape hits the wall in front of me. I leave the room cackling, the sound of Daya's cursing following me out of the room. She knows damn well that she's beautiful, which is why I tend to tease her about being the opposite. Someone's got to humble the sexy bitch every once in a while. She'll get too big for this earth if I don't. I dump the trash bag by the front door and make my way into the kitchen. I grab pineapple juice from the fridge and turn towards the island to start making more drinks. I draw short. My lungs constrict and ice flows into my veins, my blood flaking into ice chips. On the island sits an empty whiskey glass with another single red rose next to it. Only a drop of my grandfather's whiskey remains. The glass wasn't here before. Neither Daya nor I have left the second floor for the past hour, both waist-deep in old people things. I circle the duo as if they're a slumbering python and could snap and bite me at any moment. My heart thunders in my ears as I tentatively reach out and grab the glass, inspecting it as if it's a magic 8-ball and going to reveal the person who drank out of it. Clearly, no one is in this kitchen with me. I can see the front door from where I'm standing, yet my eyes comb through the entire expanse of the kitchen and living room looking for the person who snuck into my house, grabbed a glass and a bottle of whiskey, and proceeded to have a drink, while my best friend and I were upstairs, none the wiser to the danger lurking below us. I hadn't heard anyone come in, not a single sound. Angrily, I storm towards the front door and twist the handle. Locked, just as it always fucking is. Needlessly, it seems, since a locked house isn't enough to keep a creep out. "Where's my drink, bitch? I'm hearing whispers and shit," Daya calls loudly from the second floor. "Coming!" I shout back, my voice breaking. I walk back into the kitchen, still searching as if there's a wormhole to another universe and the weirdo is going to pop out at any moment. There's an entryway on the right side of the kitchen that connects to the hallway on the other side of the stairwell. Darkness spills from the depths of that entrance. The person could be in that hallway, lurking just out of sight. Or hiding in one of the bedrooms even, waiting for me to pass by. Another surge of adrenaline rushes through my bloodstream. I could be one of those dumb bitches you see in slasher flicks who go investigate that you want to yell and scream at for being stupid. Do I really want to greet possible death that way? The stupid girl who couldn't just run out of the house or call for help? Or am I going to be intimidated by some asshole who thinks they can come into my home whenever they please, drink my grandfather's whiskey, and leave evidence as if they couldn't care less if they're caught? It makes me wonder, would they even bother hiding? They obviously have a way into the house undetected. What would be the point in hiding out in a bedroom or a dark hallway? They could easily sneak up on me at any point, come and go as they wish. That knowledge makes me viscerally angry and equally helpless. What good would changing the locks do when they're not a hindrance in the first place? Sucking in a deep breath, I decide to play the dumb bitch role. Grabbing a knife, I search through the entire house, keeping silent and my footsteps light. I don't want to freak Daya out right now if I don't need to. When I find nothing, I make my way back into the kitchen, grab the rose, rip the petals from the stem, and drop them into the empty glass. Part of me almost hopes they come back, so that they can see my little masterpiece. "Not gonna lie, I'm scared for you," Daya admits, lingering in front of the door. She spent the entirety of the day cleaning out the house with me. I rented a dumpster and we loaded the sucker up until neither of us could lift our arms. 10 hours and several trips to Goodwill later, we finished cleaning out the manor. My grandparents were never hoarders, but it's easy to accumulate trinkets and items you think you'll need but never do. After Nana died, my mom went through the entire house and either sold or donated most of the things in here. Otherwise, it could have taken weeks, if not months. "Don't be. I'll be fine," I say. It took me the better part of the day, but after downing a few more mixed drinks, I got up enough courage to tell Daya about the whiskey glass. It would be wrong to hide that someone came into my house while she was in it. It wouldn't be fair not to give her the option to leave. She freaked, of course, and then spent the rest of the day trying to convince me to stay at her place. I won't budge. I'm tired of people attempting to run me out of this house, first my parents, namely my mother, and now some sick fucker who gets off on being a creep. I'm scared, but I'm also stupid, so I'm not leaving. Honestly, I was surprised Daya stuck it out in the manor. Her eyes were shifty and she probably said the phrase, "What was that noise?" a few thousand times. But we haven't had an incident since. Now she lingers at my door, refusing to leave me here alone. "Let me stay with you," she says again for the millionth time. "No, I'm not putting you in danger." She snaps her fingers at me, anger flashing in her green eyes. "See, that, right there, that's a fucking problem. If you consider me in danger if I stayed here, then what does that make you?" I open my mouth to answer, but she cuts me off. In danger! That makes you in danger too, Addie. Why would you stay here? I sigh and rub my hand down my face, growing frustrated. It's not Daya's fault. I'd be freaking the hell out and questioning her sanity too if roles were reversed. But I refuse to run. I can't explain it, but it feels like I'm letting them win. I've only been back in Parsons Manor for a week, and already I'm being pushed out of it. I can't explain why I have the need to stick it out. Test this mystery person, challenge them, and show them I'm not scared of them. Though that's a big fat fucking lie, I'm absolutely terrified. However, I'm just as stubborn. And as already established, stupid, too. But I can't find it in me to care right now. Ask me later when they're standing over my bed watching me sleep. I'll feel differently, I'm sure. I'll be fine, Daya. I promise. I'm sleeping with a butcher knife under my pillow. I'll barricade myself in the bedroom if I must. Who even knows if they'll come back? My argument is weak, but I suppose I'm not even really trying at this point. I'm not fucking leaving. Why is it that being in public places and social settings makes me want to light myself on fire, but when someone breaks into my house, I feel brave enough to stay? It doesn't make sense in my head either. I don't feel okay leaving you here. If you die, the rest of my life will be ruined. I'll live on in misery, plagued by the what-if questions. With all the drama she learned from theater, she looks up to the ceiling and puts a contemplative finger on her chin. Would she still be alive if I had just dragged the bitch out of the house by her hair? She wonders aloud in a whimsical voice, mocking her possible future self and me. I frown. I'd rather not be dragged out by my hair. It took me a long time to grow it out. If they come back, I'll call the police immediately. Exasperatedly, she drops her hand and rolls her eyes, her mannerisms saturated with sass. She's angry with me, understandably so. If you die, I'm going to be so pissed at you, Addie. I give her a weak smile. I'm not going to die. I hope. She growls, grabs my hand roughly, and pulls me into a fierce hug. She's letting me go, and all I can feel is immense relief, tinged with a little regret. Call me if they come back. I will. I lie. She leaves without another word, slamming the door behind her. I heave out a breath, grab a knife from the drawer, and tiredly make my way into the bathroom. I need a long, hot shower, and if the creep chooses now to interrupt me, I'll be happy to stab them for it. May 16th, 1944. John has been questioning me lately, always wondering what I'm doing when I'm home alone. I tell him I take care of the house and crochet. Sarah is 14 and can do her own schoolwork now, so I just make sure he comes home to a hot meal. My normal, mundane, wifely duties. He's suspicious of me. He's starting to notice a change in my behavior. I can't deny I've been acting different lately. Ever since the strange man came into my life, through my window. He hasn't spoken to me yet. It doesn't matter how many times I beg him to. Asking him what his name is, where he came from, how he knows me, what he wants from me. None of it's successful. I want to hear him speak so badly that I've begun to offer him things, bad things. A kiss, a touch. He smiles at me but doesn't concede. His fingers whisper across my cheek, and then he walks away, leaving me wanting for the next time he comes around. Chapter 5. The Manipulator. The breeze coerces my body forward, as if urging me to jump, to take the leap and plunge to my death. You won't regret it. That little intrusive thought lingers. Somehow I feel like crashing into sharp rocks would be regrettable, to say the least. What if I don't die right away? What if I miraculously survive the fall and I'm forced to lie there broken and bloody until my body finally gives out? Or what if my body refuses to give out and I'm forced to live the rest of my life as a vegetable? All regrettable. I'm snapped out of my musings when I hear a throat clear.
Ma'am?
I turn my head to see a tall, older man with a softness about him that almost comforts me. His gray thinning hair is matted to his forehead from sweat, and his clothes are stained with dirt and gunk. His eyes bounce between me and the edge of the cliff I'm standing on, emanating nervous energy. He thinks I'm going to jump. And as I continue to just stare at him, I realize I'm not giving him any reason to think otherwise. Still, I don't move.
We're heading out for the night,
The man informs me. He and his crew have been rebuilding my front porch all day, giving it the facelift it so desperately needed, while also ensuring that my foot isn't going to go through the rotted wood and probably give me sepsis. He looks me up and down, his brow lowering as his concern seems to deepen. The breeze blows hard, swirling around us and stirring up my hair. I claw the strands away to see that he's still eyeing me closely. When I was younger, Nana refused to let me near the cliff. It's only a good 50 feet from the manor. The view is breathtaking, especially when the sun sets, but at night it's impossible to see where the cliff's edge is without a flashlight. Currently, the sun is descending into the horizon, casting this lonely piece of land in dark shadows. I'm standing 3 feet away from danger, life and death separated by a rocky edge. Soon it will disappear. And if I'm not careful, I will too.
You okay, miss?
He asks, taking a single step forward. Instinctively, I take a step back towards the cliff's edge. The man's brown eyes widen into saucers, and he immediately halts and puts up his hands as if he's trying to keep me from going over with the force. He was just trying to help, not scare me, and I've gone and scared the shit out of him in return. I suppose I have been this whole time. I look back, my heart lodging in my throat, when I see just how close I was to stepping off. All I can feel in that moment is pure terror, and just like clockwork, the familiar heady feeling settles low in my stomach, like water circling down a drain. Something is clearly wrong with me. Sheepishly, I take a few steps away from the cliff and shoot him an apologetic look. I'm on edge. Red roses appear everywhere I go now. It's been 3 weeks since I found the whiskey glass and rose on my countertop. After Dia left, I took a long hot shower, and during that time I decided that I need to start making reports. Leaving some type of evidence behind, that way if I turn up dead or missing, they'll know exactly why. By the time I got out of the shower, the empty cup with plucked petals was gone, depleting me of any warmth in my body. I had immediately called the police that night. They humored me with a report, but they told me finding a rose in odd places around my house isn't sufficient evidence for them to do anything. Ever since then, the incidences have escalated. I'm not sure of the exact moment I realized I had a stalker, but it's been made clear that's exactly what's been happening for the past 3 weeks. I'll get into my car to go to my favorite coffee shop to write, and waiting for me on my seat is a red rose. Inside a car that has been locked, and still was when I had approached. There's never a note attached, never any type of communication other than the red roses with clipped thorns. My paranoia only heightened when renovations started 2 weeks ago. Numerous people have been in and out as they repair and replace the bones of the house. Electricians, plumbers, construction workers, and landscapers have all been here. I've replaced every single window in Parsons Manor and installed brand new locks on every single door. But, just as I suspected, it doesn't make a difference. They always find a way in. Any of the people coming through my house could be them. Admittedly, I've interrogated a few of the poor workers just to see if they acted suspiciously, but they all looked at me like I was asking them if they could sell me some crack.
Ma'am?
The man prompts again. I shake my head, a sad attempt at focusing back on the conversation. I'm so sorry. I'm just really out of it. I rush out, waving my hands out in front of me in a placating gesture. I feel like an asshole for my behavior. Had I fallen, the poor guy probably would have blamed himself. The earth could have easily given out on me, or I could have just taken too large of a step and plummeted to my death just because he was concerned. He would have lived the rest of his life with guilt, and who knows what would have become of him because of it.
It's okay,
he says, still eyeing me with a pinch of wariness. He hikes his thumb over his shoulder.
Well, we'll be back tomorrow to put the railing up.
I nod, twirling my fingers together. Thank you. I respond lightly. The second he leaves, I'll cry about how I almost ruined his life, and even though he seems incredibly nice, I can tell he wants nothing more than to just leave. But his kindness perseveres, or that insistent need to make sure he walks away guilt-free.
You need me to call anyone?
I smile and shake my head. I know that looked bad, but I promise I wasn't going to jump. His shoulders fall an inch and his face smooths out in relief.
Good,
He says, nodding. He starts to turn, but then stops.
Oh, there's a bouquet of roses waiting out there for you.
My heart stops for a solid 5 seconds before it kicks into high gear and climbs its way up my throat. What? From who? He shrugs a shoulder.
I don't know. They were there when we came back from lunch earlier. Forgot about them until just now. I can go grab the...
That's okay. I cut in hastily. His teeth click shut and another weird look passes on his face. This man definitely thinks I'm a nutcase. He nods again with one last concerned glance before turning and walking back towards the front of the manor. Releasing a weighted sigh, I wait until he disappears from view before making my own way back. It would have felt weird walking behind him, two people heading in the same direction that have no interest in talking to each other. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. When I make my way around to the front of the house, I first stop to admire how beautiful the new black porch looks. The exterior has been refreshened. Still all black, but with brand new siding and fresh paint. I kept the vines and cleaned the gargoyles, and though the stone is chipped and weathered, it only adds character to the haunting manor. Seems my taste isn't any more rainbows and sunshine than my predecessors. Then my eyes jump to the bouquet of red flowers perched against the door. It looks like they were placed there by one of the crew members, assuming they didn't want to enter my house without my permission. My eyes skirt the property. The sun's rays are nearly gone, and I can't see a damn thing 5 feet past the tree line. If someone is beyond that point, they could be watching me, and I would be none the wiser. Feeling a tad more urgent, I scoop up the roses, rush inside, slam the door, and lock it. Nestled neatly in the bouquet is a single black card. From my view, I can see some type of gold calligraphy scrawled across it. My eyes widen, wary of the note. It'll be the first real communication I've gotten from the stalker. Part of me has been waiting anxiously for it, hoping they'll tell me what they want from me. And now that it's here, I want to tear it to pieces and live in blissful ignorance. Screw it. I'll probably die from regret and curiosity if I don't read it. Plucking the card out with shaking hands, I open it and read,
I'll be seeing you soon, little mouse.
Okay. I could have lived without seeing this. I mean, little mouse? This is obviously a man stalking me, and he must be cracked in the fucking head. Clearly he is. Disgusted, I slide my phone from my back pocket and call the police. I really don't want to deal with them tonight, but I need to report this. I'm not naive enough to think they'll save me from the shadow that's attached itself to me, but I'll be damned if I become some unsolved mystery if I die. A gentle but firm knock vibrates my front door. It's almost becoming an instinct for my heart to skip a few beats whenever I hear any noise in the manor. Surely, that can't be healthy. Maybe I'll eat some Cheerios. They say those are good for the heart, right? I walk over to the window next to the door, peeking through the curtain to see who it is. I groan. I want to be relieved that it's not some creepy-ass dude outside my door holding a gun and spouting about how if he can't have me, nobody can. Really, I do. So all I am is a little sad that it's not the persistent shadow ready to end my life. With a heavy sigh, I swing open the door and greet Serena Riley, my mother. Her blonde hair is tucked tightly into a chignon, pink lipstick painted on her thin lips and icy blue eyes. She's so prim and proper, and I'm so not. Where she holds herself with regality and grace, I have a terrible habit of slumping and sitting with my legs open. To what do I owe the pleasure, Mom? I ask dryly. She sniffs, unimpressed with my attitude. It's cold out here. Aren't you going to invite me in? She snips, waving an impatient hand for me to move. When I reluctantly step aside, she pushes past me, a wisp of her Chanel perfume trailing in her wake. I cringe at the smell. My dear mother looks around the manor, distaste evident on her pinched face. She grew up in this Gothic house, and the darkness of the interior must have influenced the insides of her heart. You're going to get wrinkles if you keep looking at the house like that, I deadpan, shutting the door and brushing past her. She huffs at me, her heels clicking against the checkered tiles, as she makes her way to the couch. The fire is roaring and the lights are dim, creating a cozy atmosphere. It'll start raining soon, and I really hope she leaves by then so I can enjoy my night in with a book and the sound of thunder and peace. Mom sits daintily on the couch, her butt perched on the very edge. If I poke her, she'll fall off. Always a pleasure, Adeline. She sighs, her tone high and mighty, as if it's just another day of her being the bigger person. That sigh, the backdrop to my entire childhood. It's filled with disappointment and met expectations all at once. I never disappoint in disappointing her, I guess. Why are you here? I ask, getting straight to the point. Can't I come visit my daughter? She asks with an edge of bitterness in her tone. Mom and I were never close. She was bitter because Nana and I were, resulting in me choosing her over Mom often, in arguments and where I spent most of my time growing up. In return, I harbored resentment because I was made to feel like I couldn't choose her, because if I did, I would only be rewarded with another underhanded comment about eating another cookie I can't afford. She'd complain my ass would get too fat, but little did she know that's exactly what I wanted. To this day, the woman still doesn't understand why I don't particularly like her. Are you here to try and convince me that I'm wasting my life away in an old house? I query, throwing myself into the rocking chair by the window and propping my feet up on the stool. The same one my great-grandmother and I tend to get stalked in. Sitting in this chair forces my thoughts back to last night, the creepy note and answering all of 2 questions from the police officer before he said he'd hold on to it for evidence and make a report. Waste of time, but at least the police will know that it was foul play if I end up dead in a ditch somewhere. I have an open house today in town. I figured I'd stop by and see you beforehand. Ah, that explains it. My mom wouldn't drive an hour to come to visit me just to have a tea party and play nice. She was in town, so she decided to come lecture me. Do you want to know why Parsons Manor deserves to be torn down, Adeline? She asks, her tone dripping with condescension. She sounds like she's about to school me, and suddenly I feel very wary. Why? I ask quietly. Because a lot of people died in this house. You mean the 5 construction workers in the fire? I ask, recalling the story Nana told me when I was a child about Parsons Manor catching fire and killing 5 men. They had to tear down the charred bones and restart, but the ghosts of those men still linger. I just know it. Yes, but not just them. She stares at me hard while my hesitance worsens. I turn to look out the window beside me, contemplating if I should just make her leave now. She's going to tell me something life-changing, and I'm not sure I want to hear it. Then who else? I finally ask, my eyes glued to Mom's shiny black Lexus parked outside. Schmancy. So schmancy that it almost seems mocking. A stark difference to this old house, as if to say, I'm better than you. Being a real estate agent pays well. When I was born, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But considering the turmoil of our relationship as I got older, that notion soured, so she threw herself into becoming one of the top sellers in Washington. Honestly, I'm proud of her accomplishments. I just wish she felt the same about mine. Your great-grandmother, Gigi, she declares, pulling me out of my thoughts. My head snaps toward her, shock curling through me. Not only did she die in this house, Addie, but she was murdered here. I couldn't keep my mouth from dropping open if I tried. I shoot upward, the rocking chair slamming harshly against the wall behind me. She did not, I deny. But if my mother is anything, it's not a liar. Nana spoke about Gigi often. Her mother was her entire world, but she definitely never told me Gigi was murdered. I had only asked once about her death, and Nana only said that she died too soon. Nana closed down after that and refused to say anything more. At the time, I was too young to give it much thought. I just assumed she was still hurting and left it at that. It hadn't occurred to me that Gigi's death was tragic. She sighs. That's why your Nana always had this weird obsession with the manor. She was young when it happened. Her father, John, no longer wanted anything to do with this place. But Nana threw the world's biggest temper tantrum and forced him to stay in the house his wife was murdered in. She glances at me, noting the droll look on my face from her insult. Those were my grandpa's words, not mine. At least about the temper tantrum. Anyway, the second she was old enough, he gave it to her and moved out. And she lived on in the manor, as you already know. I face the window again, the beginnings of the storm pattering against the glass. In a few minutes, it'll be a downpour. Thunder rolls, building to a crescendo before a loud crack shakes the foundations of the house. It matches my mood perfectly. Do you have anything to say? She pushes, her eyes boring a hole into the side of my head. I shake my head soundlessly, scrambling for a response. My brain is numb to coherent thoughts. There are no words. Absolutely no words to describe the utter disbelief I'm feeling. She sighs again, this time softer and filled with, I don't know, empathy? Mom may not be a liar, but she's also never been empathetic either. My dad never felt comfortable raising me here, but your Nana insisted. She loved Gigi, and she wasn't capable of letting this house go. It's cursed. I don't want to see you do the same thing, grow attached to a house just because you loved your Nana. I suck my bottom lip between my teeth, biting hard as another crack of thunder tears through the atmosphere. Was Gigi killed by her stalker? The man she called a visitor, who would come into her home and do unspeakable things, things that she tried not to want, but did. Was it him? Was he playing her all along, sensing her growing attraction for him, despite what he was doing, and took advantage? It's the only thing that makes sense. I turn back to her. Do they know who did it? Who killed Gigi? Mom shakes her head, her lips tightening into a thin line, causing the pink lipstick to crack. Those cracks extend far deeper than her lipstick. She's also been broken, though I could never figure out why. No. It still goes unsolved to this day. They didn't have sufficient evidence, and back then it was easier to get away with things than it is now, Addie. Some thought it was my grandfather, but I know he'd never do such a thing. He loved her dearly. Unsolved. My great-grandmother was murdered in this very house, and no one ever caught the killer. Dread sinks into my stomach like a stone in a lake. I'm sure I know who killed her, but I don't want to open my mouth and say so until I'm absolutely positive. Where was she murdered? I ask, my voice subdued. In her bedroom, which disturbingly became your Nana's bedroom. She pauses for a beat before muttering. And now yours, I'm sure. She's not wrong. I took over Nana's old bedroom, and though it's been fully renovated, I still kept the chest at the end of the bed and the full-length ornate mirror propped in the corner of the room. Things that were passed down from Gigi. The bed is no more, having bought my own, but the same four walls that housed a horrific murder are the same four walls I sleep in at night. It's chilling, a little creepy. But to Mom's dismay, it's not enough to get me to move out, or even change rooms. If that makes me a freak, then I would only fit in with the family. Gigi fell in love with her stalker, the very man who must have killed her eventually. And now, I have one of my very own. The only silver lining is that I would never be so stupid to fall in love with him. Mom stands, a signal that she's leaving, her heels click, clack off the checkered tile as she slowly walks toward the entrance. She gives me one last look. I hope you make the right decision and leave this place, Addie. It's dangerous here. Her staccato footsteps fade as the door softly closes behind her. I watch her car disappear down the mile-long driveway, leaving me all alone in this big, cursed house. Suddenly, my stalker's last words are much more ominous now. I'll be seeing you soon, little mouse. May 25th, 1944. My visitor spoke to me today. For the first time since he started coming around, I was shocked when he did. His voice is so deep, so alluring. Once he spoke, I had hoped he'd never stop. I asked him why he kept coming around, watching me. He confessed his love for me, his desire to have me. I asked for his name, and he gave it to me. Ronaldo. An interesting name, but it suited him perfectly. He didn't stay much longer after that, but he did ask for a kiss. I was hesitant, but in the end I let him. I'm ashamed to admit I hadn't even considered John in that moment. All I could think about is what his lips would feel like on my own. My imagination didn't do it justice. When he kissed me, I flew into the stars. I don't think I've come back down yet.
Chapter 6. The Shadow. The crackle from the small device indicates my directions are about to come in. I shake out my fists, restlessness binding my nerves into tight knots. 5 bodies in the main area, all of them armed, 3 more on their 6 and 4 on their 12. I crack my neck, enjoying the feeling of my bones popping. Tension releases and my shoulders relax. 12 men won't be too hard to take down, but I'm going to have to be quick and stealthy. It was easier to pick off the guards surrounding the decrepit warehouse. The sun has long since fallen, providing ample coverage. It took 2 seconds to find a spot hidden in the shadows, giving me the perfect angle for a sniper shot. Their mistake was relying on their limited eyesight for intruders. My ability to hide in the shadows is what ultimately got them killed. Should have had night vision goggles, like me. Maybe then I would have had a bit of entertainment. I licked my lips, anticipation sharp on my tongue. "Be careful, Z," says my right-hand man, Jay. His hacking skills are nearly as good as mine, and only because I was his teacher. I created an entire organization built solely around ending human trafficking. I started out as a hacker, exposing the truths of our corrupt government, and then, as I became more aware of their true nature, the depravity of their sickness, it turned into personally snuffing out every single one of these sick bastards, starting from the bottom up. Terminate all the worker bees, and the queen is left vulnerable and weak. But I couldn't be both a hacker and a mercenary, and what I really enjoyed doing is being the one to put the bullet in their heads myself. So I created my org, Z, from the ground up, recruiting a team of hackers to help the mercenaries with their job, get into the rings, kill them all, and get the victims out safely. I stationed my mercenaries in high-rate trafficking areas and assigned them their own team of hackers. Now, Z has become so big that there are teams in every state and several outside of the country as well. Jay is the only mouth I need in my ear. His skill levels out to the equivalent of what 3 hackers could do, and he's the only one I trust with my life. I don't acknowledge Jay's sentiment. I don't fucking need luck, just skill and patience, and I have both in spades. Slinking up to the door, I keep my body close to the wall and my footsteps undetectable. When I reach the door, I hear the subtle click of the door unlocking. Jay's doing. Despite the decay of the building, it's still equipped with the latest technology where needed. The ringleaders want to keep the appearance of a run-down, abandoned building to remain under the radar, but completely impenetrable for squatters and graffiti artists. "It's clear. Systems are down for 10 seconds. Get in now." Quickly, I turn the handle and slip through in a matter of seconds, opening the door just enough to fit my body through. The metal door shuts behind me soundlessly. The old building is mostly an open concept. I came through the back door that leads into a dimly lit hallway. Straight ahead and to the left will open up to where the machinery used to be when this was a rubber factory. That is where the girls are being held. Muffled screams reach my ears. The sounds of girls crying and in pain. White, hot rage blinds my vision, but I don't rush in or lose my shit. No one can do this job and lose their fucking shit, otherwise these girls would never be saved. It's hard not to, though. These assholes bring out the worst in me. Overrode the cameras. You have 1 hour before the system resets, and I'm kicked out, Jay informs. I only need 10 minutes. Keeping to the shadows, I make my way through the hallway and peek around the corner. There are thin cots scattered across about 1,000 square feet of space. Each cot is accompanied by a metal pole installed from the ground up. Each girl is chained to the poles by a metal collar that prevents them from moving only a couple of feet from their cots. I flex my fists, tightening them until my hands go numb. I pull my gun out of the back of my jeans. Once they notice the first man is down, the rest will open fire, which is why I need to be careful and quick. Whether they're going to be careless about the girls is impossible to say. The men know the risk if their leaders find out a virgin girl was killed. That means money taken out of someone's pockets and their head on a stake to set an example. But some of these men care more about their own lives, even if it means they're walking around with a hit on their head. Just as Jay said, 3 men stand guard in front of me, completely unaware of my presence. Stupid fucks. I'll never understand how people can't sense danger when it's right up their assholes. Shit boggles me. In one quick succession, I take out all 3 men. Their bodies drop and a few of the girls jump. Some cry and hunker down while others stay deathly silent. A normal reaction for a little girl would be to scream, but these girls have already been desensitized to murder. The 5 men in the pit of girls turn their heads in tandem, their faces morphing from surprise to alarm to anger in a matter of seconds. Immediately they scramble for their guns. My body is still concealed by the wall I'm hiding behind. 2 of them open fire, forcing me to back away. 1 bullet skids across the corner of the wall right past my face. Chunks of concrete fly into my eyes as more bullets ping around me. I grunt, rubbing at my lids to clear my vision. Right as I ready up again, 1 guy comes barreling around the corner. He's dead before he even spots me, a nice little hole right between his brows. He was an ugly motherfucker anyway. World will do just fine without him. Before his body can topple over, I grip him by the collar of his shirt and bring him in close. Wincing at the bad breath emanating from the rotting hole in his face, I step out of the hallway using the dead man as a shield against the flying bullets still hurtling my way. The dead body takes a few hits while I fire off 2 single shots. 2 more bodies go down, and I step back inside the hallway, pushing away the bloodied man who's now riddled with bullets. His head smacks off the concrete floor with a sickening thud. I used his body as a shield for 5 seconds, but I still got lucky. It's not like the movies. Bullets can easily fly through bodies, entry and exit point, just to enter right back into my body. I don't use other people for shields unless I have to, and it's only for a few seconds at a time. A chorus of noises arise in the warehouse in the form of terrified screams from the girls, shouts of panic from the men, orders to kill the puta, and yells of outrage for the girls to stop crying. There are still 6 men left, and I can feel the panic crawling off them. "Come out with your hands raised and gun on the floor, or I'll start killing these bitches," one of them shouts, his voice echoing. I sigh, roll my shoulders, and do as he says. I drop my gun on the floor and step out with my hands raised. The 6 men stand before the group of girls, keeping them safe from stray bullets. The knowledge that they're only doing so to ensure the product isn't damaged, rather than giving a shit about hurting them, burns hot in my chest. "Come on, the fun was just starting," I croon, a smirk pulling my lips up. "Shut up!" The man spits. He's a Mexican man with a shaved head, tattoos covering him from head to toe, and wearing clothes that look like they haven't been washed in weeks. And look at that. Quite the gnarly scar on his forehead. Goddamn. It looks like someone took a bread knife and just sawed at his head. This must be dear old Fernando, just who I was looking for. Fernando's eyes are wide with fear, and based on the crack pipes sitting on the table behind him, I'd say most of them are high off their rockers. Not so good. They get trigger happy when they're tripping on whatever substance they injected into their tired veins, and I got 6 of those happy fingers on triggers. "Who sent you?" Fernando shouts, emphasizing his question with a wave of his gun. "I sent myself," I answered dryly. Why do they always think I'm working for someone else? I don't work for anyone but myself. The man holds his gun above my head and shoots it off, attempting to scare me. See, trigger happy. I don't flinch. Instead, I take the time to look at my surroundings better. There's a table to my left, littered with guns, ashtrays, empty beer cans, and another crack pipe. Perfect. "Don't make me ask again, cabron," the man says, his finger caressing the trigger. "You Fernando?" I ask, keeping my body as still as ice. The man's brows jump in surprise, and I see the paranoia leaking into his eyes from here. He's not going to be much help like I had hoped. He's buzzing too hard. "How you know that, huh? You following me?" I smile, baring all my teeth. "It's what I do best, after all. I heard you're the main man around here, running the show and all that." He shifts. The asshole can't help but feel a little pride. I just know it, like he's doing something good in the world, when all he's doing is plaguing hundreds of little boys' and girls' nightmares. "I was hoping you could help me out, man." "Yeah?" He patronizes. "You think so? You think I'm going to tell you shit, man?" He fires off another shot, this time next to me. Too close for comfort, enough to feel the heat of the bullet. I still don't flinch, and if anything, that pisses him off more. I sigh. With his current state of mind, he's useless to me. Just gonna have to kidnap his ass and wait till he comes down from his high. A quick sweep of my eyes proves that I have about 2 seconds before the rest of the men start shooting, regardless of what comes out of my mouth. 2 seconds. That's all it takes to stick my hand in my hoodie pocket and fire off a shot through the material, downing one of the men to my left. The surprise of that move gives me a small window of time to upend the table and roll behind it. Glass shatters from the ashtrays, and a gun falls off the table and discharges, eliciting shocked screams from the girls. Fuck. If that bullet ricochets and lands within an inch of those girls, I'm going to let them stab me for sure. No cries of pain follow, so I blow out a deep breath, relieved, but no less pissed at myself. Like clockwork, a stream of bullets impales the thick wooden table. Lucky for me, most don't make it through. It's too dangerous for me to return fire. I won't be able to peek my pinky toe out without it getting shot off, and I refuse to endanger these girls even more and fire blindly. I don't take shots unless I'm positive they'll hit true. The only thing I can do is wait. It doesn't take long for them to empty their clips. I hear the rustling of clothing and muttered curses as they scramble to reload. It takes even less time for me to shoot the remaining 4 dead. Sans Fernando. I'm going to save him for later. The bullets rip through their brains in such quick succession that their bodies drop at the same time. "You see that?" I ask aloud, already knowing Jay is watching through the cameras. "Fuck, it only took you 8 minutes, Jay groans through my earpiece. $500, fucker, is my smug answer. A string of curses leaves his mouth, but I tune him out. Fernando is spitting out his own colorful tirade as he scrambles to find another gun. I shoot him in the knee, the angry man collapsing instantly. Screams of raw pain and anger fill the warehouse, and if I didn't know any better, I'd think he was a little girl himself. No. The girls in this warehouse are far tougher than he could ever hope to be. He's just a whiny bitch trapped in a man's body. I stand and saunter over to Fernando, enjoying the sight of him clutching his knee, blood bubbling from the wound and onto the floor. His face is red, full of murderous intent as he glares at me. I ignore the look, instead surveying the copious amounts of blood streaking the cement floor. I don't want the girls to have to step through it. "Jay, have Ruby make a pathway for these girls." Ruby is one member of the crew who comes in explicitly assigned to handle the survivors and get them to safety. She's a red-headed spitfire, but turns to mush when she's around any of the women or children we save. A pathway? Yeah, I don't want a drop of blood on their toes. The warehouse is full of about 50 girls, all deeply traumatized and broken. They will never have to wash blood from their bodies again if I have anything to do with it. One of the girls stands, a fierce expression on her face. She can't be more than 15 years old, but a pedophile ring will age anyone significantly.
Are you going to hurt us too?
She asks loudly. Her dirty brown hair is tangled around her face. She's filthy. They all are. The extensive amount of skin showing is smudged with dirt and blood. She looks the oldest, and by her protective stance, she's pronounced herself the mother of the group. All of the girls here were kidnapped within the past 6 days. 6 days of unspeakable torture and assault that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. 6 days of dirty men sexualizing, beating, and molesting them. The young girls would not have been deflowered, but that doesn't mean the monsters didn't find other ways to get pleasure out of them. Jay and I have been watching this location for the past 12 hours, identifying both the girls and the men. Each second that ticked by felt like an eternity, knowing that they were enduring something horrific. While Jay kept tabs, I allowed myself 5 hours of sleep before I came here, enough time to keep my mind sharp. I have to be at my absolute best if I'm going to get them out alive. I'm here to get you girls home, I respond, tucking my gun back in my boot. She looks at me warily, as do some of the other girls. None of them are going to trust me, I get it. I'm scarred from head to toe, have 2 different colored eyes, both on the dramatic spectrum, and I'm not a small guy. Not to mention I just murdered a bunch of men in front of their faces. Backup is coming in, Jay informs right before I hear the back door open and several people rush in.
Young man, it's a bloodbath in here. These poor girls. Shame on you, Z.
I wince at the sound of Ruby's voice. Can't make me flinch from firing off a bullet 2 inches from my head, but Ruby, God help me. It couldn't be avoided, Ruby.
Not another word from you. If your mother were here, she'd have your ass.
I grunt, but don't respond, letting her hem and haw over the survivors while still muttering reprimands under her breath. Ruby was a good friend of my mom's and likes to remind me, and the rest of the crew, that she used to wipe my ass when I was a baby. If I could have killed the traffickers in private, I would have, and I hate that I added to their trauma, but when you have a warehouse full of armed men, there's no calling them back to your office one at a time like they're being fired from their job. They need to be taken down swiftly where they stand, otherwise there's room for error, potentially resulting in one of the survivors getting hurt or killed. Necessary means to get the girls out. The other 2 that came in with Ruby, Michael and Steve, take care of the bodies. Michael is dragging a struggling Fernando out, tossing me the keys to the girls' chains as he passes by. Ruby already found another set on one of the dead bodies and is currently unchaining the others. I approached the mother hen of the group and unchain her collar, my hand nearly shaking from the fury of having to unhook a fucking collar from a little girl's neck. Welts and a large bruise encircle her throat, but I don't let her see the rage simmering beneath the surface. She stares at me silently, suspicion and tentative hope warring in her pretty light brown eyes. Her eyes remind me of my little mouse, and something protective flares inside my chest. What's your name, kid? I ask, keeping my eyes trained to hers. She's probably waiting for my leery gaze to travel the expanse of her body, but she won't ever get that shit from me.
Cicely?
She answers. I quirk a brow. Is that where your parents come from? I question, noting her tanned skin peeking from beneath the grime on her face. She nods her head tentatively.
Ma and Pa were born there, but they haven't been able to go back since they were in their teens. They said they named me after the island because, even though they're homesick, I provide them with the only home they need.
I nod, eyeing her face. Purple blooms from her right eye, and another spark of anger ignites. You ready to give them a home again? She pauses, and then a small smile forms.
Yes,
she whispers. Tears flood her eyes, but I don't let her know that I noticed. I can tell she wouldn't appreciate it. Let's go then, kid. This little girl will go back home, and though she has a long journey ahead of her, she'll heal. We keep tabs on all the girls we extract to ensure they don't go missing again. If it can happen once, it can happen twice. She huddles in close to me as we walk out of the building. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a girl step in blood. I pause, pointing at her but glaring at Ruby. Ruby, what did I say? Not a drop of blood on the girls. Ruby startles, roles reversing as she rushes toward the girl with shame.
I'm sorry, honey bunny. Let me clean you up.
She coos to the little girl with way more than just a fucking drop on her foot.
Watch your step, okay?
I turn, satisfied that she won't let it happen again. I help Cicely navigate through the carnage, keeping one eye firmly on her feet and where she walks. When she's in the clear, I lead her to the van where they'll transport her safely to the hospital. There, her family will be notified. I whistle. An unnamed tune as I let my crew take care of the rest and head to my Mustang, hidden in another parking lot across the street. I'm eager to get the fuck out of here. My hunt isn't over yet. I have to play with my little mouse now.